Hi, welcome back to The Scent Advocate. Tonight we're talking about emotionally comforting fragrances. It's getting a little chilly around here in upstate New York, and I'm hoping it's just a brief experience, but in case it's not, I don't know, there's just something about a chilly evening like this where I crave that emotional hug. And these fragrances from my collection give me that. They are probably among the most comforting fragrances I have. I think some you might know better than others. Some are older, some are very new. In fact, I will save the most recent addition to my collection for last. It's pretty new, so stick around. Actually, I'll save that for next to the last. My last fragrance will be the one that comforts me the most. And yeah, let's do it in that order. Okay, tonight's beverages are water and coffee. I usually have two beverages. I don't usually tell you that, but I do. So it's whatever I show you and water. So tonight I showed you the water too. Okay, let's jump right in with the first fragrance. It is Zouzou by Celine. This one is a tremendous fragrance. It's very comforting, soft, enveloping, but it's also big in its projection and its longevity. And I love that. So this is an EDP. It's 100 ml. It's a 2024 release, but it goes for $330. So I really love the tremendous experience of this. And what's especially wonderful is the big experience you're having is a wave of comfort. And I find wearing this keeps me calm for far longer than the initial spray. Like I'm calm for hours. And that's something that I think is noteworthy. For me, fragrance truly has an impact on my mood. It can make me feel many different ways depending on the fragrance, which is often driven by, my state of mind at the time that I select the fragrance. So typically in the morning. And if I know I'm going to have a stressful day, and many times I can predict it, I will reach for a fragrance like this. And in fact, this was my scent of the day before yesterday, because I knew I was going to be stressed out. And did it ever deliver? But the funny thing was, I usually refresh throughout the day just because I want to. I was so comforted by this. The longevity was so good that I found I was leaving work for the day, and I usually take my fragrances out and put them, in kind of a hidden area on my desk. I realized as I was putting it into my purse before I left that I hadn't resprayed, and I still smelled great. I was still comforted by the fragrance. So the longevity is fantastic. The projection is great, so be careful. Although it's incredibly comforting. It's hard to imagine this being off-putting in any way. So the nose behind this is Hedi Slimane. The notes in this are benzoin, tonka bean, patchouli, labdanum, vanillin, and musk. Again, delicate, warm, understated. The vanilla is so rich. It's just an incredibly comforting gourmand, but not your typical gourmand. It's gorgeous. Zouzou by Celine. Next, I love this one. I wear it a lot. This is LX48 by Caswell-Massey. And I just love the bottle and the purple color of the juice. The bottle is, you know, I guess it's raised lettering on the glass, and it's just beautiful. I really do enjoy a lovely bottle, and this is it. So this is kind of a floral leather, but very, very comforting. It's an EDP. It's 100 ml, and it goes for about $200. The nose behind this is Jean-Marc Celine. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. The notes in this are geranium, violet, oak moss, tobacco, leather, and cedar. This is so, gosh, it's so special. I love oak moss, and I find it so compelling. And to combine that with the powdery violet here is just, it's incredible. It's got the leather, but it's very understated, and leather can make me feel secure. I don't know why. Maybe it's something to do with men I've had in my life, in my family, you know, my father, others, you know, grandparents that wore leather fragrances that made me feel safe. That's probably why. I think of leather belts, you know, they secure your pants in the right place. Leather purse, you know, secures your wallet and other doodads. So I always just, I look at it as something protective, and comforting. And that's what really sets this off, is the oak moss and the powdery violet and the security of that very understated leather. Beautiful stuff. Absolutely love it. LX48. It's got just a classic feel to it from that oak moss. Gorgeous. All right, moving on, we've got, love this one, Widian's Cotton. I have had this in my collection for a while, and it never lets me down. It's a very easy reach. The nose behind this is Marie Salamagne. This is an EDP. It's 100 ml. It goes for $185, and it's a 2024 release. The notes in this are honey, green tea, lemon, jasmine, orange blossom, heliotrope, patchouli, cedar, and vanilla. A very soft, powdery, somewhat fruity floral. It's not really a heavy fruit, it's a sweetened lemon, like a lemonade, a very faint lemonade meets the powdery notes of that heliotrope. It's almost, trying to think, like a lemon chiffon pie or something. You know how that's lemony, but it's sweet, and it's not acidic or anything, you know, sharp. It's just comforting, familiar, positive. The green tea is calming, but very understated. The vanilla is there, but just kind of as an anchor. This is so beautiful, just stunning. And I don't know why. I mean, as it stands, a lot of these, I just don't know why everyone doesn't constantly talk about these. I know that I constantly wear them. This is definitely something I reach for when I'm positive I'm going to be stressed out. It's like a great sweater. I should tell you that the Zouzou, let me just back up for a second. The Zouzou is appropriate any time of day or night, but I wouldn't want to wear this on an extremely hot day. This to me leans feminine, but it's definitely unisex. But if I had to pick, I'd say maybe just a slight nod in the direction of the feminine. This is a unisex leaning masculine fragrance. And this also, I would say, is great any time of day, probably more of a nighttime fragrance, and probably in the cooler months. I wouldn't wear this in the in very hot summer. This is probably, you know, unisex leaning feminine. I definitely think you could get away with this in the warmer months in the evening. But again, I think, as is going to be the case with maybe all of these, they're probably better suited for an environment where you're not sweating, you know, out in the hot sun or, you know, like going to the gym. I wouldn't wear any of these for that. Gorgeous stuff. Widian's cotton. All right. Next, we've got Elle Anniversary. Oh, what a bottle, right? Look at that sparkly gold. Let me do this again. Gold flakes on the bottle. They're not in the bottle. It's got this beautiful kind of mother of pearl piece in the front. And of course, the bottle is pink, like a champagne, you know, with the gold. And the top is very, very strong. Oh, it's so beautiful. So the nose behind this is Marie Huguenot. This is a 2023 release. It's an EDP and it is 50 ml. I believe this goes for about $250. And the notes in this are berries, green apple, lychee, bergamot, peony, jasmine, cashmere, woods, licorice, musk, amber, sandalwood, and patchouli. So what really makes this one extra special and comforting for me is that licorice, the anise note, and it's not prominent, but it offsets the sweetness of the fruit, and it prevents the florals from being too much. It's a fruity floral, but very calming. That licorice I associate with, you know, an aperitif. I remember my family drinking anisette or name brand versions of anisette with what we call black coffee. It's espresso after dinner. And so that smell was in the air. And I remember it being, you know, along with coffee, which I find very comforting, a calming, you know, the dinner was over, the stress of the dinner was over. There was coffee and cake, and the coffee was the black coffee, and the you know, wafts of the anisette always made me think of positive, happy, safe, calming times. And it was around that time that my mother would put us to bed, and, you know, I was tired, and I just, it was a calm time. You know, the voices were lower. It was just good. And so for me, that's what licorice brings to a fragrance. And this tempers the brightness of those fruits and florals beautifully. And I think maybe the sandalwood does a little bit too. It's not your typical sandalwood. It's a very muted, less creamy, more just a dry wood sandalwood. And it's gorgeous stuff. Elle Anniversary by Xerjoff. Next, we've got White Zagora by The Different Company. This is so beautiful. The nose behind this is Emily Cooperman. This is 100 ml. It is an EDT, but as I always say, with the EDTs I have in my collection, I have very few that aren't powerhouses. This is a powerhouse. It goes for $190 and it's a 2013 release. The notes in this are neroli, citruses, bergamot, orange blossom, peach blossom, tuberose, osmanthus, white musk, and amber. You know the osmanthus is going to make it extra comforting. And indeed it does. So I think the peach blossom, that tuberose is just done so nicely, and I find tuberose and osmanthus together just create a beautiful, in this context, light powdery orris, not iris, but the depth of orris, and the lift of the iris, the powdery, is what I get from the tuberose and osmanthus together. Really beautiful. There's a white musk in here, but you know, for me, white musk, that amberette type thing, it's there. It's not the star of the show. The osmanthus and tuberose are for me. And so this is powdery. It's a cosmetic, like, you know, old school cosmetics, and just a lot of comfort, you know, thinking of the wonderful women in my family who had just applied the makeup and getting a hug from them and how wonderful they smelled. That's what I get from this, and it's extremely comforting. Very, very much reminding me of the love they gave me. And, you know, who doesn't need that? So, white Zagora from the different company. Okay. We have 2 left. So what I'm going to do is take a sip of water. All right. I'm going to do the latest addition to my collection. This was love at first sniff. I tested it, had to have it right away. It is Eau de Tulle by Guerlain. It's pretty new. This is a 2026 release. This is 100 ml. It is an EDP, and it goes for $250. The nose behind this is Delphine Jelk. Now, this is part of a series. There are a few fragrances that Guerlain recently put out, and they're named after different materials, cloth, fabric, this being tulle. There are others. I think one is cashmere, and I think they're all eau de, you know, cashmere. One's poplin, one's cotton. I've smelled cotton. I absolutely loved it, but on me, it lasted about, I'm not kidding, 60 seconds, and then I could not smell it anymore. And I don't know if I was having a bad couple of days. This one I tested at the same time, knocked my socks off, lasts forever. I did find out that the cotton, and I suspect some of the others, if my research is accurate, they are EDTs. This one, I believe, is the only release from this line that's an EDP, but please keep me honest if you know otherwise, but that is what I've read. And as a result, you know, you get a much different performance level out of the EDTs, at least I did. Wanted so badly to get that cotton fragrance, but I just couldn't justify the spend for the longevity I got. It just faded away within seconds. So I couldn't do it. I will continue to test it, and I'll let you know if anything changes. If you've tried it or any of the others from this release line, let me know. And what was your experience with them? Did you get better performance out of the EDTs? Do you, I don't know, tell me what you think. I don't know what to make of it. I was surprised. The notes in this are angelica, citrus, pink pepper, orange blossom, rose, white musk, vanilla, patchouli, and according to the official notes, there's something called dragé or draghi. I don't know what that is. I'll have to look it up. I should have done that before I made the video, but I forgot. So this fragrance is light, pink, precious, floating on a cloud of bliss. If pink cotton candy were something you could fall into and relax and just float around on, that's what this is. It's not sweet like cotton candy, but it sure does have that texture, I guess. And this makes me think of my little girl running around in a tulle tutu and, you know, just dancing around. She had her hair in a little bun. I'd put it in a little bun, and, you know, she had on a long set of beads, and she'd smeared on a little of my lip balm with a pink tint, and, you know, just running around, twirling around. She was maybe 3. She was so precious. And she had on a pink tulle tutu. It wasn't a short one. It was a little bit on the longer side, like a proper ballerina length, right? And she had on ballet flats, and underneath the tutu, she had on little gray leggings. They were like calf length. They were so cute, and she was the best thing I've ever seen in my life, and this makes me think of her. Absolutely wonderful. There you go. All right. My last fragrance, my favorite. Among comforting fragrances, there could be no other. This is it. So this is Après L'Amour by Coty. I have a dent in this that's not insubstantial, and I had 2, I want to say 9 ml travel size, and I went through them before I dug into this. I just loved it so much, and I don't want to give it up. I've not gotten backup bottles of anything. I've considered it before, but I will probably get a backup bottle of this. The nose behind this is Fabrice Pellegrin. This is a 75 ml Eau de Parfum. It's a 2024 release, and it goes for about $290. The notes are simple: tobacco, labdanum, and ginger. The tobacco is a wet pipe tobacco. The labdanum is very incense-like in this. This is soft, powdery, comforting, enveloping. This smells like what love feels like. It is very, very powdery, very soft. Think of cashmere, real cashmere on your skin. A loving touch on your face when you're not feeling well. That's really it. It's the human kindness, the human touch. And this is that in a fragrance. 100% for me. My grandmother wore makeup that smelled like this, and she may have had a fragrance that smelled like it. You know, Coty is it's a legacy house. It's a vintage house, I should say, and they've been around a long time, and I am drawn to it because she wore Coty makeup, and being with her meant being with my family. You know, I was always, you know, she and my grandfather, and, you know, my uncle when he was a kid, and it was just wonderful. Absolutely complete happiness and love. It was all good the whole time, and this takes me there, and it is just so much more than a fragrance to me. This is a feeling. And so I don't know if you can relate, but I think at the very least you will find this extremely comforting. The notes are, I get way, 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 way more than those three, but certainly those three are present. The ginger is the least among the notes as I perceive them. There's nothing zippy, zingy, or, you know, energizing about this. It's not depressing. It's wonderful. It's just not, you know, with ginger, I usually think of like a high energy, uplifting type fragrance, and that is not this. This is complete comfort. This is Après L'Amour by Coty. There we go. So what do you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? I've talked about some of these before, some I haven't. What are your most comforting fragrances and why? Let me know in the comments. I love them. I've been a little slow to respond lately. Mark's not been feeling well. Jackie's not been feeling well. And oh my gosh, I've been okay. But you know, when the ones you love aren't feeling well, it just kind of brings you down too, right? So I've been a little slow to respond, but I'll get back on track. If you aren't yet a subscriber to the channel, please consider subscribing. If you enjoyed the video, give me a thumbs up. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.